What's up, Weekend Warriors? Welcome into episode number 45 of the Weekendology podcast. This is the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to spark your weekend conversations. So for everything related to all the best topics from music, movies, sports, food, and more, we've got you covered. I'm your host, Will Deichley, returning alongside my co-host, Aaron Berg. Aaron, happy holiday weekend to you. What's going on?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Is it not?
No, it definitely is. Fall's coming.
Fall is coming. Well, maybe not so much in Texas yet, but
yeah,
it's
close enough. When it's not 90 degrees, that counts as fall.
Yeah. I mean, every time it turns September 1st, it's just like, well, let's just raise a glass to what summer was.
Raise a scotch.
Raise a scotch. A glass of scotch.
That's a very fall drink, right?
Yeah, scotch is pretty fall.
I exclusively drink summer drinks all year, so I don't know what fall drinks are.
Just Tom Collins and Amaretto sours.
TCs
and
all day.
It's White Claws all day.
No, not White Claws.
No White Claws?
Get that out of here.
All right, just Truly's then.
Truly hard seltzer. That's where it's at.
Okay. You got any special plans for Labor Day coming up this weekend?
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Horseback riding.
Ooh, that sounds
Palo
fun.
Canyon.
Ooh, wow. Tell us about that. Have you ever been horseback riding before?
I have, yes. Tragically, I was bucked off a horse.
I was just going to say, don't get bucked off the horse.
Yep.
But that's already happened.
I've ridden 2 horses in my life. The first one I got bucked off when I was like 8 or 9 in Colorado. So that was not fun. And then the second time I rode a horse, and he wanted to race. This was like in high school. It was at a hockey camp, and he wanted to race the other horses. And it was a giant horse. And I was like, no, I don't know how to ride a horse properly. They didn't really teach you the commands or whatever they're called. You know, they just were like, get on the horse and ride it. You're fine. And then we were riding around, and then he was like, oh, no, I want to go. And it was like Kentucky Derby. Like, he was going. And I'm like, I don't know how to stop this thing.
Jeez, that
scary.
sounds like a harrowing experience. My times riding horses were never like that. I was
so, hey, third
much...
time's a charm. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, maybe...
I'm excited, you know. I'm a little more adventurous than I was when I was a kid, so...
That's true. You like the whole outdoorsy life. So, well, big plans for you this weekend. Don't report back to us next week and, you got like a broken leg or
I'll try not to get
or...
my arm, like, stuck under a rock and have to cut it off with a pocket knife or anything crazy
Let's
like
not
that.
do that. So, sounds like a lot of fun. So, happy Labor Day weekend to everybody.
You're going to the motherland this weekend. So.
I am. I'm going up to Minnesota for a wedding this weekend.
Best
so I'm
state in the nation.
Very excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm happy to see some family and I guess have some walleye fish up in Minnesota. I've missed a lot of the great fish up there. So
that is my favorite part of going to Minnesota.
The walleye?
Yep.
Yeah. The good thing is I don't have to go and catch it myself.
Where else do you get walleye?
Nowhere.
Best walleye in America.
I honestly think you can only get walleye in Minnesota, and that's about it. Maybe like the Dakotas or I don't know.
Those don't count as states.
No, Dakotas up there?
Oh, the Dakotas.
Oh, don't you know?
There's nothing good in the Dakotas. No.
Well,
nope.
I don't know.
Walleye only counts in Minnesota. If you can get it anywhere else, it doesn't count.
It's not real.
It's kind of like when you eat barbecue that's not in the South. It doesn't really count because it's on the surface you're eating it, but it's
probably
not the
just
same.
Frozen and
you're just eating a fake. Imitation.
Yeah. None of that imitation walleye. We want the fresh caught walleye from the lakes up there. I want that shore lunch. I don't know, whatever Minnesotans eat.
Whatever you
Minnesotans eat, I'm up for it all. So, yeah, good plan. We got plans for both of us then. So, I'm excited. It's kind of like normal life almost.
I mean, yeah, we can pretend.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank all of our returning listeners for joining us again and for this week. And if you're new to the show, welcome. If you don't already know, the show is all about changing, improving, and making things better as we cover all the best topics from around the pop culture and the sports world. Weekendology is a production of the Big Red World. They're a podcast publishing network outside of St. Louis, so go check them out. They're on Twitter at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org. Go check out their brand new documentary as well called Happiness is Circular. Focuses on the life and career of comedian Amber Clear.
Did you finish it?
I did finish it. It was a great documentary. I have to give props to Colin Kessler and everybody who was involved with that. I think it was just a really, really well done production, and they deserve lots of praise for it. So it's streaming on all of their social channels and their website, so go check it out. Did you finish it, Aaron?
No. I haven't.
You have failed.
I haven't gotten back to it. I'm still
you have
15 minutes
dishonor and shame upon this podcast. You are excommunicated. Goodbye.
From the big red world.
Yeah, no, you're excommunicated from Weekendology. I already fired you, so I don't even know why you're here. So
I'm just volunteering my time.
Fired you weeks ago.
This is my community service.
So go check it out. I think it's a really great documentary. To keep up things,
I will.
Well, there you go.
I will check it out because you told me to.
Good job. Influencer life in action here.
Micro-influencer. Hello.
To keep up with all things Weekendology related and music, movies, and sports, food, video games, anything else that's changing, and more, check out our Twitter at WeekendologyPod and wherever you listen to podcasts. For all things sports related, go check out our sports Twitter at Weekendology Sports or Weekendology Sports. And to keep up with things all related to entertainment, check out Weekendology ENT and Weekendology Entertainment. And those are our social channels. And if you don't have Twitter, go check out our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So you'll have all of the greatest things.
Hey, where's the Instagram, by the way?
Well, Aaron, I'm
That's
only one guy.
That's the longest process.
You know, it's coming.
You're Mr. Instagram. See, I'm off the grid.
I do
so
use a lot of Instagram.
I don't know how to use the Instagram machine. So
but I'm not a graphic designer, nor do I have, take a lot of photos. So I don't know. It's coming eventually.
You know this because you're an Instagram guy. What do podcasts post on Instagram? Like, do they post pictures? Like, what do you post? A microphone?
Video
selfies?
previews. They like a lot of the podcasts do.
We still don't have video.
Oh yeah, we don't have video. I'm only one man, Aaron, fighting against the world.
I mean,
trying to do this. I can only do so much.
I guess I could do it too. So.
You could, so there you go. So if you listen to this week's episode, make sure to rate on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Tweet at us at WeekendologyPod. Give Aaron crap for not helping me with all the social channels if you want. We want to hear what your thoughts are. Hit that subscribe or follow button.
I run the Twitter. That's my job here.
Yes, you run the Twitter.
All the Twitters.
All the Twitters. Not all of them. Some of them. And let us know what you want to see change and improve upon as well. And one thing you could also do is go check out Lionfish Promotions, our sponsor, our weekly sponsor at this point. If you or your business are in need of some cool swag to give out to some employees, clients, or even build the brand of your business up, Lionfish Promotions has you covered. They offer every kind of item from pens to notebooks, cups, mugs, t-shirts, and more to be branded with your own personal logo. So anything you can think of, Lionfish has you covered. Check them out at lionfishpromotions.com and use the code WEEKEND for 10% off of your first purchase.
You're going to be seeing the CEO of Lionfish Promotions this weekend.
I will. I will be having a business meeting with the CEO of Lionfish Promotions. We're going to be going over quarterly reports.
Yeah, I want to see some metrics,
projections,
on the old 10% off
revenue generation models. We're going to be talking social media strategy. So this is more of a business trip than it is anything else. I'm networking up there, so it's going to be,
business and wallet.
When you're as popular as I am and you're as business savvy as I am, you never put the phone down. You never put the computer away. You just keep
ABC,
going.
Man.
Hey, ABC always be closing. So what are we watching today? What's your pick of the week? Do you have one for this week, Aaron?
I got multiple picks.
Oh, multiple picks.
So is this allowed? Because I noticed you usually just pick one, but
you can pick multiple ones. There's no rules in this podcast. We can do whatever we want.
No rules, right?
Exactly.
So
pick whatever you want.
In the spirit, well, first of all, my last week's pick was Selling Sunset. I got to give a shout out to my girl Chriselle because today it was announced she'll be on Dancing with the Stars this season.
Oh, really?
Right. So congratulations, Chriselle.
Good job, Chriselle.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive.
Yeah. Also, Carol Baskin making an appearance.
Carol Baskin. Where have I heard that name before?
Joe Exotic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 2020's been a long year, man.
Oh man, that feels like a year ago.
That's a blast from the past. That's March of
man. That was stage 1 of quarantine. Okay, we're in like stage 5 right now.
That was like
I don't even know.
Man, we're gonna be in the house for a month. Well, I better watch this. And then I was like, no, you got a lot of time.
It's more than a month. Wow, Carol Baskin is on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, she's one of them.
That's gonna be weird, man.
Yeah, Chriselle's gonna be there.
That's gonna be weird.
I'm not worried.
Well,
but this week though, for my pick of the week, in the spirit of our topic that we'll be talking about today,
sneak peek.
If
you don't know by the title already, watching this or reading this podcast.
Hey, I mean, we keep them guessing.
We do.
It's Eddie, the movie Eddie, not the Whoopi Goldberg movie, not that movie. The documentary Eddie again on ESPN Plus because I love ESPN Plus.
Always.
It's about Eddie Sutton. It's a very good documentary.
Okay.
It's a full length. It's an hour and a half, but it's just about his life and career. But very interesting. Takes through his childhood and just all the twists and turns. A very interesting story for such a storied coach and such a Hall of Fame coach at that. But just such a half tumultuous career and half a legendary, career. So very, very interesting. I don't think there will be another coach that has the legacy that he has, but also the drama that he had throughout his coaching career.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Eddie on ESPN Plus then.
Eddie on ESPN Plus. Yeah,
awesome.
It's great. So
that's awesome. I will definitely go check that out. I will need some stuff to watch while I'm in Minnesota land and maybe on the plane and then
it's a serious documentary. So then after that, my second pick of the week, you can get a little crazy and fire up the pod and listen to Lightly Toasted featuring John Duda and Danner Jester.
Johnny Duda,
former TFM employees.
Legend. Johnny Duda is an absolute legend.
Oh, everyone.
His Twitter is
old
just
TFM,
full of
legends.
So many great things.
Give him a follow.
He's got the crazy flow with his hair and everything going on.
I'm going to give him a shout out. Follow Deuteronomy on Twitter.
Yeah.
Johnny Duda.
The man is a poster child for Head and Shoulders, I swear. He has got
a good flow.
He's got the locks going, but wow, Johnny Duda, blast from the past there.
It's a quality, and I say quality.
We need to get
it's quality in my own version of quality, as in kind of when you say Will Ferrell movies are good. You're not saying they're Oscar winning, but do you enjoy them?
Sure.
Yes. So then that makes a good movie.
We need to get
this
Johnny
podcast.
Duda.
I'm saying it's good because it makes me laugh and it makes me forget about the world for 20 minutes.
There you go.
That's a check in my book. It's a good podcast. So
we need to get Carol Baskin and Johnny Duda dancing together. That would be the greatest
have our own
thing.
version of Dancing with the Stars.
That would be the greatest thing of all
the
time.
Weekendology Dancing with the Stars.
Weekendology Dancing with the Stars.
The stars we would get.
Yes.
I mean, hey, at this point of Dancing with the Stars, the people they're calling stars, not talking about Chriselle because that's my girl, but AJ McLean is one of the people from the Backstreet Boys. Oh. Yeah, you didn't know who that was, did you?
Didn't know who
You have to say from the Backstreet Boys because no one knows who that is.
I would have never
your
guessed
boy,
that.
St. Louis's own, who is not relevant anymore, Nelly.
Hey, Nelly's still relevant?
No.
Yeah.
It was like they were like, hey, let's take people who were cool in 2001 and then let's take some random off-the-wall people from now and let's mash them together.
Are they gonna play "Come and Get High with Me" for him to dance to or something?
Oh yeah, just some country grammar,
some great throwback and everything.
That is not the name of the song.
Well, that whatever.
Come and get high with me.
Clearly, I don't know any Nelly songs, so
you're not a real St. Louisan.
I don't really care. So,
I'm disappointed.
Well, my pick of the week is much different from yours, Aaron.
Something like super serious.
No, not really. It's something you would probably know. It's Crime and Sports.
Oh yeah, one of the best
podcasts I've ever listened to. Superstars. Hopefully, I get this right. Jimmy Wisman and James Petrogali are the co-hosts, co-hosts of the show. They just talk about anything random related to sports and criminals in sports, and
it's great.
There's some deep cuts in there too. So
James Petrogali also does incredible research. I mean, it's half. Almost like documentary-like, where he takes you through their lives, but then also it's like half about them as people, and then half about their crimes, and then just a ton of comedy, and they just obliterate them and make
these episodes are like 3 hours long,
but so worth it.
It's very, very worth it. I have to maybe listen to them like once a week, like one episode. It takes me an entire week to get through,
and there's so many too.
There's like
how 240 now.
Pump them out, but Crime and Sports, great podcast to go listen to with some great episodes. So check them out. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on every wherever you listen to podcasts. So that's our pick of the week.
That's a quality pick.
That's a very quality pick. I think so.
I'm serious.
You can't top that. So
I'm not even. I'm like one of those artists who plays music, like plays pop punk. They're like, hey man, I don't listen to pop punk. I listen to hardcore. Like one of those people where it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, why are you doing it? I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I like doing podcasts, making podcasts. That is one I listen to every single week. It's that good.
Yeah, same here.
It's
well, I haven't listened
so
in the last 2 weeks, but it doesn't count. That's fine. So
still your pick of the week.
It's still my pick of the week, though. So on to the show now, Aaron. Are you? I can ask you a very important question here, Aaron. Are you ready for the battle in the bubble?
No,
you're not ready for the battle in the bubble.
This is another thing that this year I just get proven wrong over and over and over.
It's just like, what else could happen?
I need to stop going on limbs, and I didn't even think at the time I was going on a limb saying stuff like this, but like the whole bubble thing, first of all, just off the cuff here, pro sports, the bubble's stupid. I stick with what I originally said, a couple months ago. Yeah, well, I thought we talked about this in the summer.
Probably
the episodes run together for me. But they should have just canceled the season. These playoffs are doing, it's dumb. I have no interest in. I love sports. I have no interest in watching the NHL or the NBA or any of this. It's stupid. It's like it's put together.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. John Taffer. Shut it down. Like it's just.
No, I agree with you. It's
so forced.
To catch everyone up who doesn't know, on August 26th, the NCAA filed for a trademark for Battle in the Bubble, which means they intend to use the bubble for college sports. They intend to sell merchandise or branded clothing and apparel,
of course,
with the Battle in the Bubble hashtag or, I don't know, slogan or whatever. So it brings us to our topic for today. Should the NCAA employ a bubble for all of its sports leagues? And I think going off of what your previous statement was, I don't like the bubble. I think it's worked well for what they've done with it.
Yes, I'll give them that. Both of them, very good job, especially for the last minute production it took. It's pretty flawless how it's running. I just think the concept it's too Frankenstein-esque.
It just seems like it's just like a summer league or something. Like nobody's really trying.
Yeah.
Like anybody who loses, it's like
You have playoff games at like 2:30 in the afternoon in August.
It's very strange. Yeah, like the NBA is playing at noon and on like a Wednesday. I'm like, this is weird.
It looks like the summer league.
It is the summer league, by the way.
It's just in Orlando instead
playing.
of Vegas.
So to catch everyone up again, the NHL and the NBA do this thing where they have league bubbles, where they play all of the games in one location, and all the players of the team stay in that one location. So the NBA plays in Disney's sports complex down in Florida, and the NHL is up in Canada. And I think it works well for pro sports athletes because that's their job. It's just to play. So they all stay down there.
And they're paid?
They get paid to play. That's their entire job. But if you try and translate that into college sports, there's way too many challenges, and it raises a lot of questions as to, one, what is the true, I guess, point or the true, agenda of the NCAA?
We all know
what it is. We all know what it is, but...
Well, I'd love to hear Mark Emmert answer that question.
I would love to hear him answer that as well. So do you think that the NCAA bubble would work, and how would it work?
So, man, I have just so much stuff.
I know, it's a loaded question.
Will it work? Yes. I think it definitely can, because the NCAA is a machine, man. The way they turn out March Madness is, if it's not my favorite, it's definitely top 3 favorite events of the year in all of sports. College basketball, March Madness. It's so well run, and I think they can model that, after March Madness, they just make sure kids stay in the bubble. Obviously, the easy answer here, though, is how's this going to work? They're college kids. They're not paid. Go check out our episode about college kids, if they should be paid or not, back in the day. But they're not paid for this. So you're doing these things I know testing has gotten cheaper to do, but it still costs money. So
it's a ton of money.
Who's paying for that? Schools? NCAA? Who's shelling out that money? Then you have the issue of, okay, so you're going to tell these kids you have to go down to, let's just say, Orlando and play, even if it's a month. Because they're talking a little bit about just, the non-conference games.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Then we'll open it up. When you go play in the conference, you don't need to be in the bubble anymore. That's one option. Still, even if it's a month, the fact you're making kids, or maybe not even making, because they can opt out, I'm sure, but say you're telling them, go do this, they're not paid. Whereas NBA, yeah, it's easy to sacrifice not seeing your family or your friends or whatever and change your life. You're making millions of dollars to go do that.
Yeah.
I just think, and you know how I feel about this. I don't think college athletes should be paid.
No,
However,
I don't think they should either.
I love how they changed it where they can profit off their likeness. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But I do like the amateurism aspect of it. I like how they don't have their agents, and you just see a different type of passion in college than you do in the NBA. I'm just going to use the NBA for example. NBA, you can see it. These guys care about contracts and money and all this stuff, and I think it's half that and half the sport. College, it's
just all about the sport.
I know there's guys who care about their brand, but there's less of them because there's a lot of guys who are like, you know what, I might play in Europe after that, but this is probably the end.
A lot of the college athletes, they play because they might not. There's very slim chance they might go on to the pros afterwards.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're playing like it's their last game every season because they really do enjoy the sport and they have great school passion and pride, and they want to put it all out there.
You chose to go to a school, to go to that location.
Yeah.
So to pull them out and say, okay, 2 months, you're staying here.
That's a long time, too.
I didn't want to go there. Also, maybe their families can't go see them. That's big in college sports. Their families always go to the games.
Yeah. And it raises a lot of logistical questions for me. Like, where would they have the bubble? Would they have it back in Florida for when the NBA is done over there?
I think that's the leader right now.
Would they do it in... They'd have to pick a location.
They talk about North Dakota, actually. That was one of them.
Oh, yeah, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, because people would love going there.
North Dakota there. But, pro athletes are used to traveling and being away from their families. They travel a whole lot. The NCAA teams, they have to be away from their families for, the whole school year then.
They're on campus.
Because the conference play would only be like a month or a month and a half. Then there's the NCAA tournament if you're doing basketball. Or if you're doing football, I'm sure there's probably the other, the tournaments or whatever they're going to do with that. Mm-hmm. So how do you have all of the student athletes? They have to do men and women's too. And if they only do men's, then they
will definitely do women's.
They have to do women's because then it'll be like sexism and Title IX and all that kind of stuff, and there'll be a huge PR blowback from that.
But here's what I want to know too then, and this is the issue we're seeing now currently in college sports. They're doing, and this is also why I hate it, because it's just, we all knew the NCAA is only trying to make money, obviously. We know that.
That's the true agenda.
Right. Everyone knows
it's been clear that.
However, can you make it more obvious? We're not playing soccer and baseball and these non-revenue sports at these campuses, but God forbid they shut down college football. They're talking about bringing back the Pac-12 or Big Ten. Is coming back now in October, supposedly.
Oh, boy.
It's on the verge. So it's just crazy to me how they can make those sacrifices for the revenue sports, but then say, oh, no, it's not about money. It's completely about
all
money.
About the money.
And I think, okay, but so do you do a bubble for college hockey? Okay, then why not?
Right.
If you say no, then why not then?
There has to be parity amongst it. And, how do you have a large concentration of people in one place? Because you're going to have both men and women's there, whether you do basketball in one location and football in another location and hockey in another one or whatever. You're talking about multiple bubbles scattered around the United States, and there's a large concentration of people going there. How do you not have that turn into another outbreak, or how do you have that not be bad for everything? Because it's not like these are adults and professional athletes, these are 18, 19-year-old kids. So They're not going to, speaking from experience, they're not going to conform to the rules. They're going to have people over that are not cleared
look
by
at the
the
NBA.
bubble.
The NBA had that, Rashawn Holmes was leaving the first week.
Exactly.
Went to pick up food.
Yeah, they're going to go out. They're going to go explore the city if it's somewhere they've never been to. That's just naturally going to happen. So there's going to be breaks in the bubble, and I feel like it's hard to corral college students and say, you can't leave this hotel. You can only go to the hotel.
It's hard to corral human beings, and especially ones that aren't getting paid. That's the thing. It's
exactly.
How can you tell someone, no, you have to do it this way? Why? Because I have a scholarship, I have to do this? I just think, they're going to look at that and say, no, this isn't worth it. Look at the professional athletes who are opting out of the season.
Yeah.
You guys in the NFL that are opting out.
I imagine you'll probably
the MLB.
see college athletes just say, I'm just not going to play this year and just drop out then. Like the
Right.
ones who are not the superstars or something.
And especially ones that are playing at like small-time schools, that don't have a chance to win an actual championship. I don't like it at all. It's hard, though, when you ask the question, what's the alternative then?
Right.
So should they, let's say they don't do the bubble let's just stick with football and basketball. No bubbles.
Yeah.
So should they just do like what the SEC and the Big 12
or like what the MLB is
what they're doing? Yeah. Should they just do that where they're like, we're playing, but we're just going to have either no fans or 25% capacity and hope for the best?
I think the no fans thing has worked really well for a lot of the pro sports. Like it's working well for the NBA. They found a good way to overcome it, especially and same for the NHL. Like they have the virtual fan seats and everything.
It's a bubble.
Yeah, so like
it's working well for the MLB too. I know they got a lot of
is.
crap in the beginning. If you think about it, for not having a bubble, it was really like two teams. The Marlins screwed it up.
So did the Cardinals, though. So,
but the Cardinals didn't have as many.
Yeah.
But and then I feel like there was a couple players here and there, but it wasn't this. They overblew it.
Yeah,
they blew it out of proportion.
It has worked really well for all the European soccer teams too, which is where kind of this thing was a hotbed. When they came back and everything. So the no fans does work. Will the NCAA sacrifice ticket revenue and stuff like that for it? I highly doubt it. They're going to find some sort of way to make money and have these sports play. And if they don't do the no fans and they don't do the bubble, then they should just not play at all, because it's been proven that it's not safe. It's not a responsible thing to do, especially when you have college students as well. It's one thing, I guess, to do professionals, but it's another thing to have kids. But then you risk too much PR backlash if you just say, screw it, we're just going to do it. Let's have fans in too, by the way, whatever.
Well, and I just think too with the bubble, like I feel like it's going to mess with the season. They're going to have, the schedules are going to be weird. How do you, especially with college sports, how do you do that for non-conference? I mean, schools are playing all over the country.
I think it raises a lot of questions. It's like, well, if you do have it, how many teams do you have?
Right.
Like for football or for basketball?
There's 351 college Division I basketball teams.
Like, there's no way you can have all of those playing at the same time.
And that's what I don't like is one of the rumors, I guess, that's out there is that we're going to pick certain schools.
Well, then
that's not fair.
What criteria do you judge to pick schools? What conferences do you choose? How do you seed the teams accurately with most of the conferences not
you're going
finishing?
off of what, last year?
But not most of the conferences didn't finish last year, so you never had a conference championship.
Right. You
only can go off of their regular season records, so you're going to have to say, oh, well, do we go back for the year prior then for that? And that's 2 years away or 2 years ago, so there's so many different pieces of criteria that I don't think would accurately give a good notion as to who deserves to be in this playoffs or season. And who doesn't deserve to be in it. So
I hate, too, how the NCAA wants to hide behind this, we care about the kids' health. We care about our student athletes. No. If you care, and this is where I go back to, I don't understand, the Pac-12 had this, the We Are United campaign.
Yeah.
Where they wanted to boycott. They didn't want to play because they felt like they weren't protected enough. Then it became the We Want to Play campaign. And I thought, okay, well, which is it? Do you want to play or do you want to feel protected? And to me, if you're the NCAA and you truly feel like you're putting these kids in a dangerous or exposed situation, and it's not about money, as you say, yeah, then why are you playing?
I think the NCAA has some sort of an identity crisis where it wants to appeal to the masses and say, yes, we're here for safety, but they look at those spreadsheets and say, well, shoot, we gotta
look how much money we're losing.
We gotta make up some money here, so we gotta figure something out. So
and then you lose donors, and there's
exactly.
Other things like. You not only lose out on like ticket revenue, you lose out on merchandise, you lose out on donors. The college towns are you have places like Eddie Sutton, the Stillwater, Oklahomas of the world.
Right.
That is their economy. The College Stations of the world, the Lubbocks. That's it. If they don't have a game, like, they're screwed.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that play into it, but I just think that there's no true, clear message as to what the NCAA wants or thinks what's best, and I think that's just what ultimately is gonna. Yeah, they flip flop so much. So they say, "Oh, we can do this. We're going to do this," and then they just do the complete opposite, and then they keep doing that back and forth.
Well, and the thing that really bothers me, and especially as a college football fan, you have like the Pac-12. They're not playing. The Big Ten, as of today, isn't playing. Oh, but the SEC is going to play, and you can, the Big 12 is going to play, and you can go to those games. It's just it doesn't match up, and it's like, either have a real season where we're all playing, or all competing, or just don't do it. I just hate these Frankenstein, like, forced seasons. I would rather just skip it, just call it and say, you know what, weird year, too much at stake, we're sorry, give these kids another year of eligibility, and just skip it.
I would
and then
be totally fine with that.
Right, and that way it's a win-win, because then these kids can start fresh. This is going to be... I said I was done going out on limbs, but I'm going to go on one more. Knock on some wood here. Let's hope I'm right. This is going to be done by next year. We're going to be back to 99% normalcy August of 2021.
If we're not, then we're doing something
If we're
wrong.
not, we got some issues to work out. But, like, I just think you got to just start over. Just do it. Hit a restart button.
Yeah, just clean slate. Just
right, because otherwise you're basically wasting a year for these kids. Then, with you had your season, but it was weird, and you didn't play all the schools you should have played, and I mean ultimately even the star athletes, they're not getting the opportunity to show what they got because like they're playing smaller schedules. They're not playing as many games, or they're playing in weird atmospheres like a potential bubble.
I wonder if there's a push to have the seasons for the pro leagues to have a draft class and have young rookies come in, and because I guess if you're a basketball player or a football player, you need this year to develop your skill set and become a draft.
They
pick.
changed some of the draft rules. I don't know this. But I know they had to edit how the draft works for next year.
Yeah.
I know they did that. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But
I don't know. I just think that's put my
one of our fans can
put my tinfoil hat on. I feel like that's like a conspiracy theory. With Roger Goodell and Adam Silver and all the owners of all the sports leagues just say, hey, NCAA, we need to have a season this year so we can have great draft picks for next year so our leagues do really well, so on and so
100%
forth.
100% they're doing that.
Exactly. So they're all in that room.
They know college sports is the minor leagues for them.
Exactly.
And that's
I'm pretty sure that's happening in some dark corner or secret lair room of pro sports people.
100%.
So all the owners of the NFL teams are like, Jerry Jones is there. It's just like, all right, we need draft picks.
I need to see my players.
Because our team's going to suck next year, so we need as much fresh blood as we can get.
The Big 12 better play because I will draft them.
Yes, I will draft all of the Big 12.
We need these guys. That is kind of Bill Clinton-esque.
That was very Bill Clinton. So we talked about a lot of like the sports aspect of it. I want to talk about the academic portion of it, because if you have a bubble... Student athletes. So if you have a bubble... You're going there, you're staying there for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, or however long it's going to be.
However they're going to do this battle of the bubble.
How do you have academics and teach classes? Yes, you could do virtual learning, which is what a majority of students are going to do this year. So as people would argue, what's the difference between having classes in a hotel room as opposed to in your apartment building or at home or, in a classroom setting or whatever? Well, that's great, but virtual learning has already been proven to not be very effective. And not speaking for all of student athletes and college athletes, I don't want to generalize, but most of the time, academics isn't your primary focus when it comes to training for a season and when you're in season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible, revelation, I know.
I thought they were there to play school.
Oh, well, you thought that they were, but you were wrong. So how do you have an effective academic season or academic school year while in the season and do everything at the same time.
So I don't think...
It seems impossible.
Well, I don't think that's as big of a challenge, actually, because they have tutors already. You know, like, a lot of that, especially these big schools, they don't go to class. They do their work online. Even in,
That's true.
The 2019 world back in the day, normal world, they still were doing class online. They weren't really going into many classes, maybe some, but, there's always that story you hear about Johnny Manziel where he was carted around on a golf cart. He had a personal driver and just did his class online, and it's a different world for them.
I have to interject there for a quick second just to say that's ridiculous that they don't go to class. Like most of them don't. Go
obviously
to most of
that's
their
not
classes.
all athletes, but yeah.
But like the big time ones, like
right.
Dude, you're there for school first, like
right. You're at a university.
Yeah, you're at a university. Anyway, continue on with your thought.
But I don't see a huge hurdle. I think that's the smallest issue. I think it looks bad because this whole process looks like our priority is to get you playing and making us money.
Yeah.
And then 1% about schoolwork. To me, that's what it looks like. So that's the problem is the PR aspect of it. However, logistically, I think it's pretty easy because they have classrooms in these arenas already. You like I said, you can take classes online. You always could. They have tutors already, like athletic academic tutors. So they already have their own resources almost, and they're already academically treated like a different world. So I think
that's true.
I don't think much changes, but the NCAA needs to figure out how to spin that to not make it look like,
right.
Hey, we're gonna pull you out of class and throw you in a bubble because you're just here to work. You're here to play a sport.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that
their
PR department's gonna have to go to work to try.
They're gonna be like, hey,
it.
they're gonna do interviews, be like, what are you doing in the bubble? Oh man, we're going to play sports and we're doing schoolwork. Like, no, you're not, man. Like everyone knows
you're
that,
there for sports, and I fear it would turn into more of a vacation for a lot of the players and just go down and play sports, and then that's about it. Like, they don't focus on anything else. And
yeah,
if you haven't gathered already, I'm more of a proponent for the academic portion first, and then you play sports.
Very scholarly of you.
Well, I am very scholarly and everything. Give me a monocle and or some reading glasses and read a book by the fire.
Well, what I want to know is how are these schools like Duke and Stanford and these athletic powerhouses, but also these academic powerhouses, how are they going to do this? Because
your guess is as good as mine, man.
I mean, that makes it look bad. Where it's like, okay, so we're pulling you out of these institutions where they're getting this top-notch education from these world-renowned professors.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me. I didn't go to those schools, but like
you are a Yale man, though. So
I am a Yale man, though.
Know.
So as a Yale man, I can comment on this. Or if you went to Yale, like you're not getting that education. Like those Ivy League schools, those guys are going to class. Those guys are going to, these big time professors. They went, or like the Naval Academy. You have places like that where they didn't necessarily go for the sport. They went and they're going to play the sport, but they're there for the education or for, these other aspects of the school.
So what are you going to do? Fly the professors in and have them stay at the bubble?
You either do that or, they're not going to be, debatably, they're not going to be getting good education. So then, well, why did I go to Yale? Why did I go to Duke? Why did I go to Stanford?
Why am I spending $100,000?
Well, even I guess a better example, not even so much Duke and Stanford, because you could make the argument you went there to play the sport. But yeah, like if you went to an Ivy League school, those guys didn't go to play that sport.
Right.
They went to get the education.
Yeah,
so
I that's a big logistical problem because you could fly the professors in, but
not all of them.
Not all of them. They have to stay in the bubble. They have to get tested and quarantined.
And what about the
so
majors?
So
they're not all the same major.
That's very true as well. So then what? You give individual private lessons or smaller group lessons for those in certain classes by the professors, but that takes more time out of their day to be teaching others. And
how does that work too? Because if they're, some schools aren't all online. So what's the professor supposed to do? Let's say you have a class and you're like, I really need to take it with Professor Johnson. Well, Professor Johnson teaches physically, in the classroom.
Right.
But what? Then he has to create another, video class for the athlete who can't be there.
Yeah,
so
it's
he's
just more
doing
work.
double work. Like, that's not fair.
And he
to
wasn't
the
hired
professors.
to cater specifically to athletes. He was there to cater to the right people, like students. Shocking.
Student athletes. Right?
Shocking.
Students.
Wow. So I think there's a lot of PR things that have to come up from it, and there's a lot of logistical issues from the academic portion of it. And I think as the NCAA, you have to go in and you have to make academics the main focus. Otherwise, it's just we're selling out. Obviously, we knew that they were going to be there for money from the first place, but this just more solidifies that that's what their main agenda is as well.
Well, and I want to go back to also, it's such a joke to me that, okay, we can play football and basketball, but then all these other sports, well, we're not going to play because of safety. Why do you have the sport at the school then? Just get seriously, man.
Just
like,
get rid of it.
Well,
Yeah.
we talked about earlier, Stanford. They cut all those sports,
The non-essential sports,
right?
So they say.
And it's like, okay, then why are we playing these? Like, if they don't make any money or they don't have fans show up or whatever your deal is with them, yeah, then why do you have them? I just think it's so pointless. And you're showing them too that, I'll go with college hockey because I'm a college hockey guy. You're basically, it's a slap in the face to those athletes, and you're saying, yeah, because of the sport you play and it's more of a niche sport, you don't matter as much.
Yeah.
But wait, I thought a student athlete was a student athlete.
Well,
I thought you were a family. If I go to Michigan and I play hockey, what? So I'm not as important as a Michigan basketball player, or a Michigan football player?
You thought wrong, Aaron, because the only sports that matter are hockey,
the ones that bring in money.
basketball, football, sometimes soccer, and maybe a hockey school or two.
Well, I guess
if you're like
soccer, I don't think
hockey.
is anywhere. I don't think
Stanford's pretty good at soccer. So.
Yeah, but they could wipe that off.
SLU soccer. Hello, that is the
second biggest sport
our
on
second
campus.
biggest sport. So no, I agree with you. I mean, like you can't. It is very difficult to say, oh, your sport doesn't matter.
It's just hard to come back from that and then
matter.
say, well, we're a student athlete family and we're all athletes and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you just showed me that the football and basketball players matter and all the other athletes are just like,
exactly.
Hey, you're here for Title IX or you're here for, I don't know, like the 12 people that like watching you. I seriously don't understand it.
I
like,
agree with you, yeah.
Why are you still doing the sport if you're going to basically tell them that?
This is life's greatest mysteries, but we all know it boils down to that cash moolah, so that's all that matters.
But don't admit that.
But don't admit that, yeah. So final portion then is we've talked about how it could happen, some challenges that happen. When could it possibly happen? We've talked about the NCAA of maybe doing basketball in November, December for conference play, having that last for, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, and then doing a bubble for the NCAA tournament. So how is it wise to do it in that time, or should they wait until the spring and then push everything back, like how football is planning on doing it, or is because some football is coming back in October and other ones are coming back in springtime. So
yeah,
how
supposedly
when should this bubble, I guess, happen?
Never.
Never. That's easy. Short answer.
I also just think with the bubble too, college sports, and my number one reason why I love college sports is it's an atmosphere like nowhere else. It is the equivalent of European soccer. The passion, the way people get into it, the celebrations.
I'm glad you made that reference, Aaron.
I'm here for
hanging out with me for so many years.
Yep.
So.
And it's just crazy how it's like people forget about that, and I just think college sports aren't college sports without the fans, and there is no type of sport that you can say that other than, I would say, European soccer, where the fans matter that much, and you take that away. Especially think about March Madness, like basketball, or
it's
the
so
bowl
passionate,
games for
yeah.
football.
So much.
I just think, and this goes to small schools. I mean, and speaking from a quote-unquote mid-major school that we went to, you see that at these games where these schools get on the map because of their fan base. You look at Grand Canyon University. They have one of the best, they're whiners and complainers because they think they can beat ASU, and they can't. But I will give them credit. They have a good student section. No one knows Grand Canyon University, but they know the student section is great.
That's very true.
That promotes the school. You take that student section away, people aren't going to watch Grand Canyon basketball.
No.
It's sad to me that that's getting overlooked, and I just think, okay, so you're going to do a bubble but take out such a huge identity, of college sports.
Yeah, because then, you don't, obviously there's no fans, but then you probably have sports going on at conflicting times with when the academic year is going on, and you'd almost probably have conflictions and with the sports and TV broadcasting. So if football and basketball is in the same season, which never happens for college, it's always fall.
Well,
for football,
the beginning of college basketball, November.
But like the bowl games are wrapping up in January when like the real college
I know
basketball
what you mean.
starts to get going.
Yeah, right.
So like if you got like I feel like it's going to cause a lot of conflictions for the TV rights and everything, and they'll probably.
Well, it's also going to cause conflictions with the students' schedules. I mean, think about that. You'd have to really. I mean, think about when you're in college and you had to plan your schedule out. Now you're going to be like, okay, when's our bubble? Okay, this is how I have to plan my classes. This is how I have to plan my whole life.
Oh,
really.
yeah.
It's such a mess. I mean, you're asking these kids a lot to plan everything around that. Professional guys, NBA guys, NHL guys, that's what they do. That's it. They have nothing else to plan for. It's train and play the sport, and that's my job.
And then you've got to take into consideration of getting the testing is done as well, because I got to get tested every 2 to 3 days. At least that's how they do it in the pro sports then. So
I thought it was every day. Because NFL training camp is every day.
Oh, maybe it's every day then. That's even
I don't know.
Even more. So
I think it's every day.
You have to build that into your own schedule too, to say, okay, well, I've got to train, do work, and go get tested, which maybe takes an hour or so.
There's more athletes. There's more people on college teams than there are pro.
But there's more athletes then, so that's more time you have to wait or have people block out times, and you've got to have personnel there. And I feel like the bubble logistically is just such a big nightmare. There's too many things that could possibly go wrong, or it's just not safe to do it.
Well, and and I know this is a big, issue that got brought up. There's no true commissioner of the NCAA. There's there's no Adam Silver,
Yeah, no one dude making the decisions be like, all right, we're following this. It's like a board of directors or something, or like a
right. Yeah, you have Mark Emmert, it's a president, and then you have, but you're dealing with, the school presidents, and you're dealing with so much more. I don't know, bigwigs. There's a lot of moving parts here. And different schools have different rules and different. It's so different as opposed to 30 NBA teams, and there you go. That's it. Yeah. And you got one commissioner to rule them all. It's not the same atmosphere. So to me, it's like, I know the NBA bubble worked, and they want to keep using that as an example, but it's totally different playing fields.
Yeah, you said there's 351 schools in to be able to
for Division I basketball.
For Division I. So and that's just Division I. There's Division II and III and all sorts, so on and so forth. So,
and that's my other issue with it too. And I had this issue when they were looking at playing this year. They just canceled D3 and D2. Okay, so what? Those athletes don't matter?
Yeah.
Jerry Rice went to a D2 school, man. There's future legends, Hall of Famers in there.
I agree.
Just because they didn't go to Alabama, it doesn't matter. And I just think it's so wrong to say, well, you bring in the money. We're not going to admit it, but we'll let you play. But these other guys, no, you don't get to play. It's for your safety. What? So what? You're not for Alabama's safety, or maybe Alabama's you can't get COVID there. That's
it's a safe zone and everything. So I think the general consensus is from both of us is, should the NCAA do a bubble? No, it's not responsible.
If you can't do it right, don't do it.
If you can't do it right, don't do it.
If you can't just have a regular season and just have a normal season, then hey, it's a wash. It's not worth it.
You can talk about all the great stuff, but logistically, it's just there's too many moving parts, and it's probably not.
And think of all if there's any problem, you're dealing with universities. How many people are going to get sued?
Oh, tons.
Think about
donors will withdraw donations, and
exactly,
and causes reputation, because a lot of schools run on reputation too.
Well, and look at the Marlins. Look at when the Marlins had the COVID outbreak, and there was 8 players in a day that got announced. right away, shut the MLB down. This was a stupid decision. Rob Manfred's an idiot. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that happens to one kid at especially any SEC school, any Big 12, any of these huge Power 5 conference schools. Pfft, game over. Donors pull out. Presidents look bad. I mean, there's going to be a lot of ground to cover, a lot of backtracking.
Yeah.
And then people are getting sued left and right. It's going to be such a mess. And that's where I'm shocked that they even got the college football season off the ground because you're risking that.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're ready for Battle of the Bubble because wheels are turning. And
so you think it's going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to find a way to somehow get the schools to be playing. It's going to be a complete and utter mess, but they're going to find a way to do it.
Do you think it'll be like what happened with college football where it's like the big, the ACC?
Yeah, I think it'll be only the powerhouse conferences. But
that's
big
interesting
schools.
though, because the Big Ten didn't, as of today, isn't playing football. Are they going to play basketball? Pac-12.
They'll find some way.
They said they're not playing any sports till January 1st, 2021. So they're out of the bubble now. That's the thing. Like, who's going to be?
Yeah, it's very tough, but I think that they're going to find a way to do it, and it's going to be a complete mess. And I'm calling it. It's going to be bad. So strap in because Battle of the Bubble is going to be survival of the fittest, and there's not going to be a lot of survival with it. So it's going to be bad.
I want to see too just the PR nightmare and talking about change. If they do this and they pull it off, that does give ammo to the crowd that says you should pay athletes.
It does.
How do you go back from that and say, hey, you did the bubble, but we're still not going to pay you? Like, dude,
I don't know.
I
don't know. Lots of crazy things it raises. But if you liked what we talked about in today's episode and want to continue the conversation afterwards, hit us up on Twitter, find us on YouTube and every social media. Let us know what your thoughts are as well. Should the NCAA do a sports bubble? How could they pull it off? Share your thoughts with us by tweeting at us. We're on Twitter at Weekendology Pod. Tweet at us on our Weekendology Sports account at Weekendology Sports and our entertainment account at Weekendology ENT. Check us out on YouTube at Weekendology Podcast and our Facebook page as well. Just search Weekendology Podcast, I think. That's probably what it is. Sure, that's probably what it is.
We got some good SOE going on, or SEO.
SEO, yeah.
There, so.
Make sure to check out our last episode on Apple Podcasts where we talk about the future of video game industry. Some good topics and hints in there as to what could be coming up. The most wonderful time of the year, Aaron.
Yes.
Next-gen consoles are coming, so check that episode out as well.
I have an omission from that episode.
You do?
I do.
Wow.
I was waiting for this one.
Oh, this is your moment.
This
All right.
is my moment.
Yeah, from last week's episode. So
if you listen to that episode, if you haven't already, just know this.
Go ahead,
I'm admitting
Aaron.
guilt here. The Lacey Sturm song that I mentioned is in the movie Underworld Awakening.
Good movie. Kate
it's
Beckinsale.
Not in
Resident Evil, sadly.
However, Underworld is a video game from 2004. Underworld,
long time ago.
The Eternal War. So it is technically, she does have a song that's in a movie that was based off a video game. I was right on that.
You were.
But it's Underworld. It's not Resident Evil.
You've been vindicated, Aaron.
You can hear her song in that movie.
Go check out Lacey Sturm, too. She's really great. Don't forget to check out...
She's coming on the podcast soon, right?
She is, absolutely.
We have her people reaching out to her people.
Yes. Don't forget to check out the Big Red World as well. They're on Twitter at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org with their new documentary streaming, Happiness is Circular, about the life and career of Amber Clear.
I'll finish that one.
Finish that one.
I promise.
Report back next week.
Next week. That'll be on my opening line.
Exactly.
I'll give you a review, movie review.
Yes, a movie review.
So it was good though?
It was very good.
Her humor didn't seem like my type of humor.
It's selective humor.
But it's small town comedy.
There's some great laughs to be had in that. So
okay.
Go check it out. Don't forget to check us out on Apple Podcasts as well. We're on Spotify at Weekendology Podcast. We're on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Google Play, everywhere under the sun where you listen to podcasts. We've got new episodes premiering every Friday. So until then, happy Labor Day to everybody. Enjoy the holiday weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.